We know a number of things, but not enough about patients and how cancer works and how patients respond to treatment. One of the things that we know right now is that, for instance, if you compare a Black male compared to a Caucasian male, even though they're likely to smoke less, they're more likely to actually develop cancer earlier, even with less smoke exposure compared to their counterpart. So even something as simple as the exposure to cigarette smoke has a different outcome. The same thing happens with medications. So if you're not represented in clinical trials, me as a physician, when I see you as a patient, I make decisions based on those clinical trials, but I'll be making a decision without you being represented. Everyone is different. We have different side effects. We have different responses. We have different outcomes, even though we get the same treatment. We know this for many diseases as simple as hypertension, diabetes. The same thing holds true for cancer. When we give one cancer drug to one patient because they had one side effect, doesn't mean the other patient has the same side effect. It doesn't mean that the patient has the same response, okay? When we do clinical trials are how we make decisions that medications work. It helps us understand the side effects, and it helps us understand the long-term outcomes of medications. And that's how us as doctors, we make decisions or we help guide patients in choosing a choice of therapy. It becomes complicated when we have clinical trials. And currently in the United States, Black Americans only represent 3% of patients on clinical trials, even though they make 14% of the population. So it's well known that they're underrepresented. So we're making decisions from these clinical trials, even though we know that the patients aren't well represented. So we may not have all the answers from that clinical trial. We're trying to change that today so that there's adequate representation for everyone, so that when we make recommendations and talk about side effects, that we can be confident that what we're saying is a true representation of what will happen.